everybody, and thanks for being here on this Wednesday and the 17th. Another day closer to the holidays and another day closer to getting some finite information as to whether or not we may be in store for some sort of a white Christmas. Still looking quite possible. While looking forward is a little harder to do than looking back, we'll go both directions tonight, talking about the possibility of some significant winter activity for more than a few days on end, all starting to really ramp up right around Christmas. And we'll also take a look back as to how indeed it is possible, even though we haven't had snow around the holidays for a while. Well, we had a big snow maker roll through here just 5 years ago, right about this time. Take a look back, a glimpse forward in our crystal ball, and in much more detail we'll talk about some other news and headlines. First off, let me say this. I do know, and thank you so much for calling, and for our Johnson County viewers who were calling last night as well. I do understand that more technical difficulties have been popping up in the Foothills feed significantly, or most predominantly with no audio for the past couple of nights, and it is with my apologies. It's not on our end here at the studio, and I know that they are working on it quite hard and giving it a lot of attention, and it's also something we're hoping to address maybe a little later on in the week with them, but we know that it is very helpful when you call and let me know that we are experiencing those problems. Sometimes it's an issue here in-house, but for the last couple of nights it's something on their end, and that they are working, trying to very, very hard to get that fixed. So please let us know when we are experiencing any type of difficulty. Now, much of the afternoon, or a significant portion of it at least, we spent some time here at the newsroom today working on gathering some details and some information that we thought we may have in-house that has not arrived. And at this point, I can't even attest to the fact that it will. But we had the understanding that we may have some sort of official press release today in regards to what we all understand is an ongoing investigation into election fraud allegedly here in Magoffin County since the November election. Now, of course, there is the civil lawsuit which was filed on behalf of Republican Judge Executive candidate John Montgomery. In that civil suit, he alleges, and of course that is his side of accounts, that several of the votes, maybe to the tune of hundreds of votes, should not be counted due to the fact that they were improperly gained, either through the means of purchase with cash, gravel, blacktop, or what have you. There is a separate story to that to some degree, and that is that there is an ongoing investigation. We have been able to confirm, as I've told you on 2 counts, that the Attorney General's office as well as the FBI in conjunction did take into their possession all absentee votes just a few short days after the November election. Now, while we were expecting possibly to have some sort of an official press release from one or both of those entities today, I have made some phone calls, and that is not going to be the case. We have, however, been able to confirm through several eyewitnesses that I've spoken to on condition of anonymity at this point throughout the county that, especially over the past few days, but all in all, since before and during and after the election, there has been significant activity in Magoffin County. We understand the FBI is indeed heading the investigation. The Attorney General's office is assisting in that investigation, as are representatives and members of the Kentucky State Police. And I have spoken with several individuals who have been questioned by some of those individuals representing those law enforcement agencies in regards to gravel, blacktop, purchase of votes, and other things of that nature. So confirming an ongoing investigation at this hour is literally as far as we can go, but we're hopeful that we'll have some sort of an official remark or statement on behalf of one of those organizations perhaps in the very near future. With that said, a lot of news to cover, and we'll start off, we'll wrap up the show with your weather forecast. We'll start off the rest of the show by talking about weather conditions 5 years ago. It was just right about this time that we were getting ready to be the focus of a significant winter storm that was bearing down on eastern Kentucky to the tune of 5 to more than a foot of snow, 5 inches to more than a foot of the white stuff for a lot of folks between the time frame of December the 18th through the 20th. It was a powerful winter storm that hit eastern Kentucky as well as much of the mid-Atlantic and the northeastern part of the United States. A lot of heavy snow began to fall 5 years ago tomorrow on December the 18th, and it did so until about December the 20th, just a few days before Christmas. This map shows some of the snowfall amounts: 5.8 in Floyd County, Paintsville seeing about 6, Magoffin County seeing about 5, Jackson picking up well more than a foot of snow. Some significant differences. Case in point would be that National Weather Service office in Jackson record for the day, not a record, but a recorded snowfall of 13.9 inches of snow between that Friday and Sunday morning. Jackson only got about 4 to 5 inches. It was a hit and miss scenario. 4 miles separating those two locations, and most everyone else getting in on the lighter side of things. Now, it was also not necessarily the beginning, but close to, if you may recall, close to the beginning of what will be a long run of a snowy pattern that draws some similarities to the setup that we're going to see move in here next week, just before Christmas. The chance for snowfall is ramping up a little more each day, and by Wednesday of next week, we could be getting into the first of what may be several snowfalls throughout a period of a few weeks on end, if not longer. So I'm not sure what justifies a white Christmas in your eyes, a flake or a foot of snow or something in between, but we've got chances for something in between. I'll be right back with headlines right after this. In Kentucky headlines this evening, Kentucky.com is reporting on an AP interview with incoming Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell from Kentucky, who today again reiterated his similar stance and vowed once again to do everything in his power to stop President Obama's coal plant regulations, saying today a White House crusade has devastated Kentucky's economy and it's time to put an end to it. Getting ready to officially begin his 6th term, he also added that the EPA has created a depression in Kentucky, and it's done a lot of damage, not just across Kentucky, but all across the country, with these efforts to essentially eliminate coal-fired energy generation. Now, in the interview, McConnell also reiterated his plans and promise at making the Keystone XL pipeline his very first priority. While in a related report out this week, Kentucky Power says it's seeking a 12.48% rate increase so it can complete the acquisition of the Mitchell, West Virginia power plant that's going to replace a portion of the Big Sandy plant in Louisa. The increase should amount to about $70 million, says reports. Now, an average residential customer who consumes about 1,362 kilowatt hours a month will see about a $22 a month increase in their bill. The Mitchell plant in Moundsville would replace most of the approximate 800 megawatts that's being generated at Big Sandy, and that is set to close sometime next year. It was said to be, per Kentucky Power and analysts, a more cost-effective option than adding scrubbers to the existing Big Sandy unit number 2, which would have resulted in a more than 30% increase, and of course nearly double, they say, the $22 that this increase will net consumers for Kentucky Power. Representative Rodkey Adkins, though, has gone on record as saying he is skeptical of the entire situation. He says that he has information to lead him to believe that the increase would actually be closer to 16.5% than 12.5%, and he also says that it doesn't accurately reflect what consumers will be paying for an increase in their bill. In other headlines, one Kentucky county is getting an early holiday break. Students in Lawrence County are getting an extra early Christmas break because many of them and their teachers are just sick from the flu or flu-like illnesses, and classes have since been called off a little early. They've canceled classes for tomorrow and Friday in lieu of a 2-week vacation that would start next Monday on a regular schedule, and they're hoping that all that rest and recuperation and, I don't want to say isolation, but certainly to some degree they're not going to be in the school, and the spread of any illnesses will be much more limited, and they're hoping all of that will help put an end to this early onset of what is a lot of sickness that we are understanding that is going around. Now, I put a call into McGoffin County's Director of Student Services earlier today to get some McGoffin County attendance and illness numbers, and I haven't got up with him as of yet. We'll kind of keep you posted and see how things are faring on that front. But indeed, it has been a very busy year for a lot of flu symptoms, and of course with the revelation that the flu shot that most all of us, I hope you got one, did get may not actually cover one of the more widespread strains. Well, it could be insult to injury. Now, also from Lawrence County in Louisa, after a vote last night in Louisa, a wet, dry vote, 384 voters said yes and 218 said no in regards to the item on the ballot were they in favor of alcoholic sales for the city of Louisa. They have approved alcohol sales now officially in Louisa, and that will take place sometime after the first of the year, is my understanding. With that said, more headlines, including a repeat of one last night due to some technical difficulties, one of our top stories, and that being the sentencing of a Magoffin County couple for their part in a kickback scheme. We'll have that again for you tonight towards the latter part of the show, as well as serious charges against a Van Leer man. But right now it's time for Magoffin County Farm Bureau-sponsored community calendar announcements. And the first is a reminder from the Magoffin County Senior Citizen Center that they're distributing food boxes tomorrow, and they're going to do it for 2 hours from 12:30 to 2:30. And Senior Citizens Director Marlene Howard says, remind everybody to bring a box. So everybody, bring a box. Food box is given out tomorrow starting at 12:30 at your Magoffin County Senior Citizen Center in the Lloyd M. Hall Community Center building. If you're a senior and you're not familiar with the center, stop by. They have a lot of fun, a lot of food, a lot of things for you to be a part of. The New Life Worship Center has their drama presentation with the title, The End of the Beginning. It's going to be at New Life Worship Center. It's going to be this Friday, 7:30. This is a PG-13 presentation, and this is your invitation to join them. Once again, New Life Worship Center this Friday evening at 7:30 for a presentation of The End of the Beginning. And another local church has a presentation going on for the holidays. Their Christmas program will be this Saturday at 6 at the Elk Creek Free Will Baptist Church. Everyone is invited to attend. And you're always invited to use our community calendar for birthdays and anniversaries and special announcements just like these. And you're invited to do it for free. Turning to funeral service announcements for this Wednesday, 62-year-old Bonnie Lou Fletcher Roark of Sagersville passed away yesterday, the daughter of Pauline Gibson and the late McKinley Fletcher. Besides her mother, she's survived by her husband Kearney, son Harold, and daughters Loretta and Tracy Lynn Roark. Visitation is this evening, all day Thursday, and prior to services. They'll start Friday afternoon at 1. Visitation and services all from the Bethlehem to Calvary Church. Burial will follow at the Patrick Lovely Cemetery, while the Magoffin County Funeral Home is in charge of arrangements for, once again, 62-year-old Bonnie Roark. "57-year-old Deborah Howard Zola of Bradenton, Florida, passed away on the 8th, formerly of Magoffin County. She was the daughter of the late Orville and Hilda Howard. She was married to Thomas Zola, who survives, also surviving sons John and Lionel Rodriguez, and daughters Heather Rodriguez and Brandy Harlan. Visitation will be on Sunday at 9. Services will start the same afternoon at 1 o'clock, all of which from the Magoffin County Funeral Home. Burial will follow services at the Prater and Kazee Cemetery at Falcon. And still arrangements incomplete at this hour, but to be announced in honor of 48-year-old Charles Edwin Howard, Jr. of Lebanon, Ohio, formerly of Magoffin County. Those arrangements to be made at the Magoffin County Funeral Home. In Johnson County headlines, the victim alleges she was 15 when the act happened just this past October. That act being first-degree rape and other charges which have now been levied against the man from Van Leer. Authorities are outlining more details about a rape arrest and the suspect, 37-year-old Gregory Schwartz from Van Leer. The Johnson County man was arrested by authorities in Johnson County after reports that he forced himself on a teenager, a juvenile, at a Civil War reenactment that took place in Laurel County this past October. 37-year-old Schwartz is charged with first-degree rape, assault in the fourth degree, flagrant non-support, and a probation violation as well. The victim, who is 15, tells police that Schwartz forced her to take her clothes off and then covered her face with a pillow to muffle her screams and then proceeded to sexually assault her. The victim also says it all happened at a Civil War reenactment titled the Battle of Camp Wildcat back in October. Schwartz is being held in the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center. Our top stories last evening was coverage of a Magoffin County couple who was sentenced yesterday under federal guidelines for their role in a kickback scheme alongside Morgan County Judge Executive Tim Conley. Kenneth and Ruth Gamble, who own their construction company, changed their plea from not guilty on all charges to guilty to one of the 6 charges against them and were formally sentenced yesterday in U.S. Federal District Court for their part in the kickback scheme. for construction and repair of roads, bridges, and culverts in Morgan County, most specifically post-tornado, when federal funds were being used. At least 6 bridges per the indictment against them in Conley were the subject of question from 2012 through 2013. In each of those 6 cases where they received the bids after they were rigged by Conley, he received a $15,000 kickback. They also, that being federal authorities, alleged that Conley had received about $120,000 in kickbacks at least from the construction company owned by the Gambles, while that company netted some $1.1 million in projects. Kenneth Gamble was sentenced to time served. That equates to, I believe, an overnight stay in jail after his initial arrest per his indictment. But he was also sentenced to 2 years of supervised release. A part of that 2 years includes 6 months of supervised home incarceration. His wife, Ruth Gamble, received basically the same as her husband, with one exception, that instead of 6 months of supervised home incarceration during her 2 years of supervised release, she was sentenced to 4 months of home incarceration. The sentencings reflect a portion of the plea agreement in which they agreed to cooperate with the investigation against Judge Executive Conley, who is set to be sentenced himself January the 6th, in just a few weeks. They also did not have any fines. All fines were waived against the Gambles, with the exception of a mandatory special assessment, which amounts to about $100 per charge. Now, to put the lid on this Wednesday's show is your Licking Valley RECC forecast. 33 is where we started this morning. Went 10 degrees higher and topped out at 43. A little light precipitation here and there. And that's going to be followed by pretty much partly cloudy skies tonight, a light west wind becoming calm, and a low well below freezing. 25 degrees is where we're expected to fall tonight. There have been some tweaks to your forecast, and that includes basically taking out one of the 2 precipitation makers I had last night. We'll get into that beginning with tomorrow. 38 is as far as we're expected to go tomorrow. That's your high and a low of 27 on your Thursday. We'll see mostly cloudy skies, start to finish, calm winds, start to finish. It's going to be a wintry day, gray and cold and calm, mind you, for your Thursday. We'll see the sun make a return by the end of the work week, the last Friday before the Christmas holiday. And your Friday is as follows: partly sunny with a high right around 40 degrees and a low of 31. We do have a chance of some rain and snow, mainly after 4 a.m. Saturday morning, but Friday night as well. Mostly cloudy skies. We'll see a chance of some precipitation alongside some light east-northeast winds. But the first real shot of some precipitation really is on your Saturday, where clouds are going to hang tough. We'll have a chance of some precipitation, 60% chance earlier Saturday, that diminishes to about 20% by Saturday night. And I just don't see, you might see a flake or two flying about, but this is going to be mostly a wet event. And I don't see a great deal of precipitation, but what I do see will be mostly in the form of rain, I do believe, or drizzle, and a few flakes, but not a big snowmaker. I just don't see it in the cards as of right now. Those cards are coming. Sunday, partly sunny, 43, a low of 33, mostly cloudy late Sunday night. And then we'll start off next week, and the countdown is really on. Can you believe Christmas Eve is Wednesday? Before I tell you about that, we'll start off the week with a bit of a surge in temperatures. Check it out. 48 degrees on your Monday, still cloudy, still a slight chance of some precipitation, mostly late Monday night. But watch temperatures go from 48 on your Monday to the Tuesday before Christmas. We hit, I think, right around 52 degrees. Mostly cloudy skies still, no sunshine to go along with it, but 52 degrees the Tuesday before Christmas. And the nighttime lows should be above freezing by a degree or two. Now, Tuesday night, showers are likely, and they will be showers in the form of rain because we're going to be above the freezing mark. And Wednesday of next week is just a little too far out to get a real handle on, but temperatures will fall from 52 43 right now might be a bit optimistic for Wednesday. We've got some precipitation coming in. We've got a whole lot of factors that may all roll into maybe seeing some snow flying around Wednesday night, which is Christmas Eve, into Christmas morning. But it is definitely a wait-and-see match. Wait-and-see game. I think that's the point I was trying to make. Nevertheless, we'll see you back here tomorrow night for more of your news today. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night.